So if you're a man and you're a business owner and you're married and you have kids, or you've connected to any of that over time, you're in the right place. My name is Garrett J. White, the founder of Wake Up Warrior, author of the Warrior Box and creator of the Warrior apps. And I am your personal mentor and guide here in this short film, documenting the evidence of over a decade of 50,000 men just like you around the globe on every continent who have awakened an operating system that works to transform reality as it exists today. A reality in marriage, a reality with family and children, a reality with business and money, a reality with spirituality and God, and a reality inside of themselves that allows them to stay in power physically. Yes, all of it at the same time. What does this mean? It is the story of birth through power and production into profitable results across body, being, balance, and business. Ultimately, what we call the science to having it all. Yeah, it helps a man like you figure out how to deal with the trifecta of insanity: marriage, kids, and money. You're going to see stories of men who built from nothing to something, hundreds of millions of dollars. You're going to hear marriages that were on the brink of divorce, separated, that became unified. You're going to hear the pain of men disconnected from their children, were unified and inspired. You're going to hear of men who have become godless in their core and walked away from the voice of God a long time ago, find a revival inside of themselves. You're going to hear the story of pain. You're going to hear the story of progression. But all of it will be seen through one simple frame: that what you're seeing can be your game. My brother, welcome to a short film brought to you by Wake Up Warrior, documenting a decade of results. And you, my friend, will be the next. Sit back and relax, and welcome to this short film.
As a married businessman with children, this is the most important 25 minutes that you will spend on your business all quarter.
I didn't really know what was wrong. On the outside, my life should be perfect. I had all the successful business.
I was a 15-year investment banker on Wall Street.
I always wanted to push the limits of who I am and what I could do, and that's how I ended up here.
That's where I was, and I was in a lot of pain, man. I was freaked out all the time because I really felt like at some point in time, the road would just kind of end, and I would run out of runway.
Truth of all things that I didn't know as I wasn't admitting to myself, you know. Joe and I would not be here if it wasn't for Warrior. We would not be here. We went 100x more.
My life was fucked up. I was unhappy. I was not fulfilled, and I was just angry. I think from just having all this shit bottled up for years and years and years, and I wasn't sure as a leader, as a businessman, as a man, how to handle those emotions.
So today's whole conversation is about how men all over the world have taken on the Warrior Challenge. We're going to start in Los Angeles. You're going to see how guys like Garrett White with 36 Warrior Challenges created $65 million. How Russ Perry took 18 challenges to make $100 million. Or Ali Azar did 7 challenges to triple his business. Or how Michael Buffington did 17 challenges for $1 billion valuation. All of these men took on the challenge and have created 6, 7, 8, and even 9-figure businesses. So sit back and let's get into it.
He was part of the wave of 2020. It's been a year since finishing. His family life has never been better, and he's currently joining the challenge again to double down and take his life to the next level a second time.
There's a rising pain. A pain that cannot be ignored, a pain that cannot be confused, a pain that cannot be pushed away. This pain has been rising for decades inside of the hearts of men around the world. Married men, businessmen, men with children, men lost, men disconnected from God, men struggling to find the answers to what life actually is. A society that has taught, trained, and educated you as a man to hide, to sedate, to become less than what you were called to be. This is not some personal development speech or some make you feel good conversation. The evidence around us today is inarguable. The obesity, the divorce, the dysfunction, the fatherless families, the individuals like you and I, men confused as fuck about what to do about it. And then you insert the conversation of COVID. You bring in restrictions from governments and politicians. You bring in the confusion of law that makes no fucking sense. You put people into an environment in which they don't know how to thrive, and in that place is the one place that men like you have been called to rise. But you don't rise. You don't rise, you use your wife as a shield, you blame the government, you blame the president, you blame your church, you blame everybody, you blame everybody except for fucking you. You were the one. You were the one that disconnected. You were the one that told him to go away. You're the one that stopped listening years ago to this voice inside of you that spoke with all kinds of intensity, that called you forward to speak into your life, to call you forward to do what you know you must do, but you don't. You keep not doing what you're supposed to do. This voice gets quieter, not because it stops talking to you. It gets quieter because you stop doing what you know you must do. And so every single day you sit in this place, this prison that you created for your own soul, wondering, how the fuck did I end up here? And you think the answer is divorce or a pill or some kind of other sedation mechanism, something that you can take away from you, but that's not ever gonna work, and it's never worked. You tried that shit. And so as a businessman, you're confused because everybody looks at you to find the news, to find the answers that you choose, to take you to a place of finding answers, but you don't have the answers because you're hollow and you're broken and you're alone.
What we've discovered after working with and surveying over 53,000 people since 2012 was that most men knew they were destined for more, but were secretly terrified and swirling in fear of living a mediocre life. And their marriage, their business, their parenting, or their body was always struggling. But here's the thing, these were only symptoms of the real problem. Our results showed that the real problem is that these men hadn't made 5 critical shifts. See, these patterns emerged, and once men made these shifts, this is what started to happen in their life.
Dude, yeah, dude, you've probably done like 25,
them all the time.
30.
Probably, I do like 3.5 a year.
In 18 challenges, he went from concept of design pickle to being now knocking on a $100 million valuation. Fucking insane, dude.
I think Garrett kind of grinded too, and we slowly started to kind of like, I think we both wanted to work it out, but we just didn't know how, you know what I mean? And I think finally we just kind of had to submit to one another in different areas and just come back together. Like we both wanted more. We didn't want to just hit the checkbox. We didn't want to just coexist together and sleep together, but not have that passion and that fire. Like I said, like if you experience it in any level of your life, whether it's a relationship, business, whatever, like it's hard to want to go back, or it's hard to want to settle.
Men who wanted more, but men who had no idea how to find this, nor even define what more was. And she said, I want to want you. I want to have sex. I want to be connected. But I don't know how to do it with you.
Well, here you are, still here. And if you're still here, here's what I know. I know that this message has been connecting. There's been a resonance for you. Something inside of you is connecting with the case studies, it's connecting with the stories, it's connecting with the message, it's connecting with the fire. And there are many of you at this point you don't need to see anymore, even though you're compelled to see more, and yes, there is more coming. The reality is it's time for you to choose and to just go. Then you can come back and watch the rest of the movie, but my friend, it's time for you to move forward into the challenge. There's no reason to wait, and you know who you are. There's always a percentage you get to this point in this movie and you're like, forget it, I'm in, I see it, I feel it. And coming from the council in the place that I sit, it's time. When the window opens up and you know it's time to go, go. So my friend, if that's you, you're resonating deeply with this, don't hold here anymore. Move forward into the challenge now. I was raised with very little money. Experienced cornbread and powdered milk every single day. My parents did a great job. I never once knew we had nothing. My mom just did an amazing fucking job of filling in the gaps with love. And my dad worked hard, but bless his heart, 5 kids, couldn't make more than $30,000 a year his whole life, and we just didn't have money. So sports was the initial game. And once I got a taste for that significance, I got a taste for what that meant, my obsession from elementary school through until probably honestly my mid-20s was to become the elite professional athlete. We get married, and within the first month of being married, she gets pregnant, we're not trying, and I get diagnosed with cancer. And this, so my wife is pregnant.
You just get cancer.
Yeah, and we hate each other. She doesn't want to be pregnant, we don't want to be married. The first week we were after our wedding, we're like, this was a bad idea. The day after we got married, up a PE teacher, and I asked a question. It's like, is this all you were born to do? Make $1,400 a month to be a PE teacher? At the same time, one of my friends hands me a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. I've read 5 books my whole life. This was book number 6. So I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and this whole world opens up to me. Like a world I never even knew existed.
It's funny. I was teasing him the other day because it's so, even moving into the home we're in and things like that, and in Orange County, we'll get funny comments like, oh, he's your sugar daddy, like whatever, this and that. And I met him when I was 18, and he actually picked me up in his friend's Blazer. I don't know if you know this story, because he had the biggest piece of shit car ever, like with like glued on hubcaps.
And I became obsessed with one thing. Not being fucking broke and figuring out how to make millions and millions of dollars. And I figured it out. And along the way, lost my wife, started addictions, worked 15 hours a day, 6-7 days a week.
You know what, the hollow years for me, I think we both wanted to work it out, but we just didn't know how.
Until end of 2007, banking world flips, and we were super aggressive, and my company's one of the first to be hit, and within 5 months, I not only lost my company, but I also poured all of my personal assets into trying to save a failing company with horrible infrastructure.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate too, like when you lose something, whether it's your relationship with your husband and you had spark, or it's like we lost everything financially, when you lose it, you kind of have to really take a look of like, okay, this sucks, but I obviously played a role in this, so how do I rebuild it to what I want it to be? And I think that's what Garrett and I did specifically inside of our relationship, is we knew there was chemistry, we knew there was spark, we just settled into kind of hollow and comfortable for too long to where we kind of like grew apart.
And so it got to a point of bankruptcy, never went bankrupt, pushed all my money in, and then I lied to Danielle for the next 6 months. She had no idea we'd lost everything. I would still get in my car and drive to the office and pretend like I had something to do. So I stopped talking to her, I started emotionally talking to other women. And that leads my affair. In 2009 into 10, I cheated on her. And this was the darkest, most alone I've ever felt. No money, no path, no wife, no children. And now I've done the unfathomable. I've cheated. I'm just disgusted with myself.
He had told me he cheated. It was kind of like, I was just like grossed out. Like it was just like, but it wasn't like I was like, oh my God, how could you do that to me? Like I was kind of like, we've been checked out for a while.
Wow.
Like I was like, I don't feel anything, honestly. Like as bad as that sounds, I was just, I wasn't mad at him. I was just kind of like disgusted. That's the only description I can give you for what I was feeling in that moment.
It was like I was systematically burning my life to the ground on purpose. Burning my marriage, burning my business, burning my life, burning my body, burning my spirituality. My life was just being stripped apart down to the raw essence of who I was as a man. Who am I? What is the purpose of my life?
I think there's this emptiness, and I think that life, you should always be kind of excited and on fire. So it wasn't that I was upset or mad or felt like, I'm like, what am I missing? That's the only way I can describe it, is I was just like, I felt very hollow.
And I have no answers, and I am confused. And I'm crying into the phone. And he's like, what is the word? I was like, what do you mean? He's like, I feel like God's trying to give you a word right now. What is the word? I look up into the rearview mirror and I adjust the mirror to look at myself in my eyes. I'm sitting on the phone, my eyes are bloodshot red, streaked tears down my face, snot on my lip. And the only word that comes to me is surrender. And I don't know this word. You can leave me wounded in the streets, I will not surrender. You have to fucking kill me. No matter what, my obsession kicked in, and yet this moment was different. There was a power behind the word that seemed to rip my heart out. There was a warmth inside. There was a moment where all the aloneness just started to melt away. I wouldn't listen. For the first couple decades of my life, I had to be taken to my fucking knees, have everything stripped away before I was willing to listen. I watch guys do this. When I watch them do it in their 40s, in their 50s, they come to this place and they watch and they see this and they don't act. And then the marriages are burning and the suicides, men who've killed themselves, who left this place as God led them to this place to listen. And they couldn't, and they wouldn't. And their children suffering and legacies, businesses burning, and kings called to build kingdoms, to be beacons, to lead, to guide, to inspire, and yet they couldn't. But I get it. I understand it. Because for most of us, it's too hard to make that decision unless God has ripped everything away from us. And in that place, there is no choice but for every knee to bow and every tongue confess, to listen. So God got my attention. For the next 4 years, He would lead me on a path away from the storylines and the narratives of who I was, strip me down to the foundation. Meet me in the mountains was the call. I started ultra running and just running by myself, spending days just being nurtured, fed, completed, healed by this power that I didn't understand. And yet I was alone, yet I never felt so alive, yet I had nothing. I had no one to lead me, to guide me, no brotherhood, no science, no curriculum. There was nothing, just a journal and a pen and this voice and this healing and this conversation of listen to me. Just listen. So I did. And every day I would start to see these pieces of the puzzle of my life. And I didn't know what I was being shown. I just knew that I would get a piece and then I would start to do that, and then I would get a piece and I would start to do that, and months later I would see these pieces fit together. And I started studying meditation and started understanding energy and started understanding the bigger picture of God and what God is and how small the box is that I placed Him and me in. And that what I was called to inside of my own life as a creator, who I was so weak compared to what I was born to be. But that I had to make a decision to surrender, to submit, to be called, to give into, to lean into, to receive. And that was not what I knew. I didn't know how to do that. It had always been my way. I'm gonna fix my marriage my way. I'm gonna fix my business my way. It's my way, motherfucker. It's my way, because I'm the smartest fucking guy in the room. Until I wasn't. Until I wanted to be the most powerful man in the room. And this is the place God entered. I said, will you listen to me now? I said, yes.
That one yes, born out of obscurity, fueled by hope and fueled by faith, gave birth to a system. People laughed at it, people made fun of it, people cursed it, people persecuted it. And yet, Garrett continued on regardless of the persecution because of what he had felt for himself. And now 11 years later, over 50,000 families and millions of people have been impacted across the globe by this one system known as the Warrior's Way. But it started by running over 1,500 men through 65 Warrior Weeks. And then we ran over 50,000 people through online experiences and books and conferences and challenges to get this out to more men after it had been proven by 1,500 plus elite businessmen.
We start with a man, the basics of who he is. Strip him down and connect him, not to me, not to the men here, but to God. Inside of that relationship, the forging begins inside of marriage. That unity inside of that covenant and that contract now qualifies him as a king to stand with a queen. And inside of that relationship, the fortification of his family, unified in this place, he now stands ready to declare war on the outside. This to establish the kingdom in business, the weaponization of his body, the communion through the voice of God in his life, the connection in marriage and children, and in that place to stand as a leader in his marketplace, in his society, in his churches, in his community, in his country, unified energetically with a network of men around the globe who stand with the same fire and the same desire to bring awakening to the kings. Liberation is the game that we play, for you can be saved and still be a slave, and that bondage is where we stand. My entire life has been prepared for this. The entire storyline and narrative of my pain to my pit, to the peak and back again. To stand in this place not as the leader, but to stand as an example of what is possible. And the thousands of men that stand next to me, declaring with their witness of results and evidence, inarguable in their science, that this is the game. The game of kings. The only question is, will you choose to rise? No man, no woman can force you to choose this path. But inside you, you know. You know and I know that you cannot unsee what you have seen. You cannot unfeel what you have felt. The only thing that's last now is your decision to rise. 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 Rise! Halfway. You're halfway through this. I got a lot more to show you, and I've already shown you a lot. But right now, I want to speak directly into the heart of the man, you, that the pain inside of you is resonating deeply with the pain inside of this storyline. Most men that come to this place either awaken to the pain inside of this movie that they were ignoring, or we just accelerated an awareness of the pain that you already knew existed. The evidence here is irrefutable. This isn't something I just started last week. Over a decade ago, we started teaching men just like you how to live this science. And over the last 14 years, I perfected living it my own life. Brother, listen, the pain inside of your marriage is not gonna go away. The pain with your children is not gonna go away. The pain in the dysfunction of your business is not gonna go away until you do something. You could walk away from this place, but the pain is gonna stay with you. I'm not here to take the pain away. I'm here to show you how to take it away yourself. You know that the evidence has linked up with the logic of your mind, but more than that, the logic in your heart. Do what you know you must right now. Click on the button on this page and secure your seat in the upcoming challenge now.
man, that was unpleasant. The first time I was doing it, I was like, all right, fine, deal with the lies, because I'm gonna stop lying. And then starting to think about how much I'm tolerating, and it's like, fuck, like I keep putting up, like doing the lie, even one time, it's like, okay, one time, but the tolerating it is just over and over and over and over. Fuck, man, too much toleration. Get out of my frustration, and I laughed. I was like, oh, this is what they're talking about. This is, I didn't realize what mess and work lying was. One, at the beginning, I didn't even realize I was fucking lying, right?
Reporting back for the end of the Warrior Challenge. Yes, this was fucking amazing. This was amazing to get myself clean. It was just relief. To leave it there was just a massive relief. If I look at my view that I have at the back at the moment, I will take on this life. I will take on this life with new power. I'm not afraid of it anymore. I don't want to hide anymore. I feel energy. I feel a new energy. I feel a new passion that I want to go in. I want to feel, I want to take on this life. Previously, it was a dread for me. I was tired. I was looking forward, fuck, another day to work hard. Now I'm looking forward to get up. I'm looking forward to go and conquer this life. I want to conquer this life with structure, with one brick on top of the other. One brick on top of each other, nicely structured. A nice foundation that will be able to carry the weight of a life that has momentum. A life that is going forward. A life that is expanding. I don't want it anymore to be those rocks again, fucking battling to get just to fucking stack them, just 7 on top of each other. This is going to be amazing. To do that in a complete different way. The cost that I've paid for it fucking was massive. Yes, I have a dark side. We all do. I know what it means to live on the dark side. I know what it means. I know the cost. I know the cost that I've paid, and also the cost that the people I love paid. That is gone now. It made me stronger. It gave me more wisdom. And yeah, what can I say? I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I'm in the light now. Thank you very much, and I'm looking forward to see you on the summits. Bye-bye.
This is my benchmark 29 video. This whole program has really been a very wild ride and a very very instructive, and you know, it seems like it should be simple, right? Our lies are all of our bullshit that we tell ourselves. It seems like it should be easy to get over, but what I found out today is that I need to be clear about all my lies and all my bullshit, because if I'm not, I just kind of brush it off to the side, or I say it's not that bad, or whatever the excuse is, whatever the next lie is. So what I found today, that if I can be very clear about what the lie is and what I'm willing to let go and what I'm willing to reach for, and put it in very clear context, that it really brings a sense of determination and knowledge about the next steps and what I have to do next. And I'm honestly very excited to see what's happening next. I'm very glad I didn't quit when I got behind, and I'm very glad that I kept on pushing through and trying to complete these challenges in a time I have been able to. So like I said, I'm excited to see what's next. I'm much more clear about what my future is going to look like, and we'll see you on the next round.